This is the 2021 TVS Apache RTR 204V and this is the 2021 Honda Hornet 2.0. Now we have reviewed both these motorcycles separately. The standalone reviews are in detail, so do take a look at it. The links are in the description below. Now what I'm going to do is quickly go through the overdrive points table and the parameters for these two motorcycles to sort of take a look at what is better at what and which is the better bike overall in the 200cc segment. Now we are a little hard pressed for time, so I'm going to request you to kindly bear with us. There will be a lot of footage which will be used from the previous reviews that we've done. So the bike, the location, the colors may not match, but please do bear with us. So now let's get on with it. If the Bajaj Pulsar 200 NS was here, I would go with 8 points out of 10 for that motorcycle. It is quite old, but it still manages to look quite good. And with that white frame, yes, it's a bit polarizing, but I think it's still a smart looker. Now, moving our attention to these two motorcycles, they have clearly pushed the design element of the street bike genre, the single-cylinder street bike genre, quite well. So I'm going to go with 9 points for both of them. The Apache with its offset tank and the sharp styling and this dual stacked headlamp, I think it looks quite nice, and that is why I'm going with 9 for this. The Hornet, I'm going with 9 for this because I like the front end. The beefy look, it really works well for this motorcycle. It's inspired by the international lineup, the bigger lineup from Honda, the 600s and the 1000s, and I think it looks quite nice. This upside down fork setup, it's something that was done in reaction to what KTM is doing, but I think the KTM, that design works completely well. You know, it attracts the youth, it attracts people who are experienced, it attracts newbies, everything. And I think for that, I'm going to give it 10 points. But these two, 9 each. While the Hornet's 2.0 suffix might play on unassuming minds and make them believe that this is a 200cc motorcycle, it is indeed a 184cc mill. In comparison to the Apache's 198cc motor, it is noticeably slower at accelerating flat out or at city or highway speeds. It is a power commuter after all and would like you to treat it that way. Treat it such and the Hornet will reward you with its butter-smooth engine, easy tractability in the city and excellent fuel economy at city and highway speeds. But the Apache has some tricks in this department too, despite its racetrack roots. It comes with riding modes that will alter its power output. Dial in the rain or the urban modes to make it a laid-back city cruiser, or call upon the sport mode to get all of its 21 ponies jumping with enthusiasm. Those willing to wring the throttle and extract the last bit of performance out of the Apache will notice a fair bit of performance difference in these riding modes, and also feel good about it. Since we haven't thoroughly tested the BS6 iterations of the 200 NS or the 200 Duke, we can't award them any points in this performance department. Though it will be the 200 Duke that will be the quickest of this lot. Typical to a single cylinder, the engine of the Apache does have a lot of vibrations as the revs rise. It may not be the most refined engine in its class, but it's a clear proof that TVS has come a long way when it comes to refinement, but it's still no match for what Honda's managed with their engine. Of course, it's a Honda at the end of the day, and ironic to its name, the Hornet doesn't buzz so much. It is quite a refined motor, so I'm going to go with 9 points for this, 8 points for the Apache, and if the NS and the Duke were present here, they would get 7 each. Despite what it may look like, the RTR has excellent ride quality even for our road conditions, and so does the Hornet. But when it comes to ergonomics, the Hornet is actually marginally better. It still feels a little bit like a power commuter in that sense, so even if you're going to be riding 2 up, that's the one to go for. In terms of the points for ride quality overall, I think I'll go with 9 points for both of these for the kind of supple ride that they offer. In comparison, the NS and the Duke, they are much stiffer, the Duke being the stiffest. But that stiff suspension setup also gives the Duke excellent handling characteristics. So when it comes to points for handling, I'll give it a 10. That's the maximum because that's how precise it is, and I think it's the best handler in the segment. I think what comes right after is this motorcycle. With the kind of adjustability that it gives you for the suspension, of course it's just preload adjustment for the front and the rear. It allows you to set up the bike quite nicely and it gives you excellent riding dynamics. You'll also get a lot of nice sharp turn-ins when you're tackling the bends. Even out on the highway, it feels nice and stable. So overall, I'll go with 9 points for this. As far as the Hornet is concerned, I'll go with 8. I love the way it handles. I love the kind of grip that the MRF tires have to offer. At the same time, I think this motorcycle begs for a bigger engine. That 184cc mill just doesn't do justice to the kind of handling dynamics that it has to offer. The NS comes very close. In fact, in terms of the handling or the sharpness, it's much better than what the Hornet has to offer. It's got excellent grip as well, and then it has the engine to match. It's just not right up there with this motorcycle or the Duke, and that is why even the NS gets an 8, which is similar to the Hornet. The Apache ups the feel-good factor further with the Smart Connect system that pairs the instrumentation to the rider's smartphone to record telemetry data on track days or push navigation data to the screen when you need it. The app will also alert emergency contacts if you meet with an accident, which is an added safety feature. The Apache clearly sets a new benchmark for safety in this segment. It not only gets dual-channel ABS, but it also lets you set the alertness, the level of alertness you want from the ABS for rain riding, for city, for track, and I think that is big points in my books. In fact, I'm going to give it 10 points straight up. The KTM is next with 9 points because it does get dual-channel ABS, whereas the Hornet and the NS, because of their single-channel ABS, only get 7 points each. The Apache not only boasts of shorter stopping times then, but also imparts more confidence under emergency braking. That rear ABS is a bit too intrusive though. Apart from the suspension, the Apache also comes with 3-step adjustability for the clutch and front brake levers, which helps the rider get the right feel and lever travel. So at the time of this test, the Hornet was priced at about 1.53 lakh on-road Mumbai, the RTR was 1.54 lakh on-road Mumbai, and Pulsar NS was about 1.57 lakh on-road Mumbai. So you see the three motorcycles are very closely matched in terms of their pricing. But it's the Apache RTR that just hits the ball out of the park when it comes to value for money. It may not have the most powerful engine when you compare it to the NS and the Duke, but it more than makes up for it with the kind of adjustability it has, the equipment that it has, the features that it has. So I think it just nails it in terms of the value for money aspect. Now the KTM Duke 200, it's priced about 2.11 lakh on-road Mumbai during the time of this test, and that is way more expensive than these three motorcycles. But I'm sure that a lot of people will still see a lot of value in that motorcycle because of the kind of brand image that it offers. And the least value for money, of course, is the Hornet. And apart from those fancy forks, there's nothing much it has to talk about. While I have made many mentions to the Pulsar 200 NS or the KTM 200 Duke, I am going to omit them from the final points table because they were not present for this test. Between the RTR and the Hornet though, there is no surprise that the track-bred Apache comes out on top. What is surprising, however, is how TVS has managed to package so much at such a competitive price tag. Kudos, TVS.